Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gaur Premanandi Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devyam Saraswatim Vyasam Atojayam Adirayat Nasta Preshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Tamal Krishna Goswami Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Nivadi Paskati Deshtarine Offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and to His Holiness Ritavaja Maharaj, and to my Param Guru, Srila Prabhupada, and to all the Vaishnavas present and listening and otherwise everywhere. I offer my head at your lotus feet. I'm not qualified to sit here, but let's churn the nectar. This is chapter 26. With your blessings, we'll churn the nectar anyway. The name of the chapter is Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. And this happens to be the chapter that the Krishna House is on, but I'm not on their verse because someone else is preparing for that verse. And I did not prepare for this class, but I'm glad to be here. Thank you. So there's no verse, but if you have an iPhone, it's text 1. And we'll chant. I'll go ahead and chant the verse. and then we'll say the translation together. And you can repeat after I chant the verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Atate Sambhavakshami Tatvanam Lakshanam Pritak Yad Viditva Vimucheta Purusha Prakriter Gunai Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Atate Sambhavakshami Tatvanam Lakshanam Pritak Jayat Viditva Vimucheta Purusha Prakriter Gunai Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Atate Prabhavakshami Tatvanam Lakshanam Pritak Yat Viditva Vimucheta Purusha Prakriter Gunai. Please chant if you have fun. Bhagavan Uvacha Atate Sambhavakshami Tatvanam Lakshanam Pritak Yat Viditva Vimucheta Purusha Prakriter Gunai. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Atate Sambhavakshami Tatvanam Lakshanam Pritak Yat Viditva Vimucheta Purusha Prakriter Gunai. Anyone else? You want Atate Prabhavakshami. He's doing it from memory. Tatvanam Lakshanam Pritak Yat Viditva Vimucheta Purusha Prakriter Gunai. Okay. Let's say, you want to try, Prabhu? Want to chant? Nice. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Atate Sambhavakshami Tatvanam Lakshanam Pritak Jat Viditva Vimucheta Purusha Prakriter Gunai. Okay. Let's say translations together. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the personality of Godhead said, Ata, now, te, to you, Sambhavakshami, I shall describe, Tattvanam, of the categories of the absolute truth, Lakshanam, the distinctive features, Pratak, one by one, Yat, which, Viditva, knowing, Vimucheta, one can be released, Purusha, any person, Prakrite, of the material nature, Gunai, from the modes. I'll say translation, then we can say it together. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The personality of Godhead Kapila continued, My dear mother, now I shall describe unto you the different categories of the absolute truth, knowing which any person can be released from the influence of the modes of material nature. Let's chant together. The personality of Godhead Kapila. Everybody? Continued. My dear mother, I strive unto you the different categories of the absolute truth, knowing which any person can be released from the influence of the modes of material nature. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, only through devotional service. Bhaktimam abhijanati. As stated in the Bhagavatam, the object of devotional service is Mam, Krishna. And as explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, to understand Krishna means to understand Krishna in his personal form with his internal energy, his external energy, his expansions, and his incarnations. There are many diverse departments of knowledge and understanding Krishna. Sankhya philosophy is especially meant for persons who are conditioned by this material world. It is generally understood by the parampara system or by disciplic succession to be the science of devotional service. Preliminary studies of devotional service have already been explained. Now the analytical study of devotional service will be explained by the Lord, who says that by such an analytical study, one becomes freed from the modes of material nature. The same assertion is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Tato mam tattvato gyatva, by understanding the Lord according to by understanding the Lord according to various, categories. Sorry, I lost my place. By understanding the Lord according to various categories, let me start over. Tato mam tattvato gyatva, semicolon, or colon. By understanding the Lord according to various categories, one can become eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. This is also explained here. By understanding the science of devotional service and Sankhya philosophy, one can become free from the modes of material nature. The eternal self, after becoming freed from the spell of material nature, becomes eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. As long as one has even a slight desire to enjoy or lord it over material nature, there is no chance of his being freed from the influence of nature's material modes. Therefore, one has to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead analytically, as explained in the Sankhya system of philosophy by Lord Kapila Dev. Omagyanatimarantasya Gyanagana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the dust of his lotus feet. Tamal Krishna Goswami Gurudev, Rajavit Swami Gurudev, and my beloved Param Guru Srila Prabhupada. So this is such a sweet nectar verse. So without looking at the purport, I'm going to try. So Srila Prabhupada describes in the beginning of the purport how we can understand Krishna. So without looking at the purport, can anyone remember what he said? What kind of devotion? Pure devotion. Yes. What else about that devotion? Is it just like sitting around being devoted? What kind of... Thank you. That's perfect. Devotional service. Only through devotional service. And the famous verse is Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. Anybody want to look it up? Okay. And then when you get it, let me know. As stated in the Bhagavatam, the object of devotional service is, don't look, and I won't look either. Anybody remember? Yes. And what was the word that was used? Mum. How many times do you hear the word mum in the United States and all over the European countries and wherever mum is used? It's actually, that's Krishna's name. When my kids went to traveling Sankirtan with Ratapaji Maharaj, and they went for like 3-4 years, they were like really into it every summer. They work hard, all, do their studies, all the study from, October to April, and then it was traveling Sankirtan, and they were on the road. So by the time they came back to visit, they would call me Maharaj. Instead of Mom, they would call me Maharaj. It just needs to be tightened. Here, tighten. There's it. You got it. And so I'd always laugh. I would smile and say, wait a minute, Last time I checked, I'm not wearing saffron, I'm not carrying a dunda, and I'm not very renounced. So, and then then they would come back to Maharaj and call him Mom. So it was really fun, actually, and really the Mom is Krishna. So M-A-M with a long A. Does anybody have that verse yet? Bhakti Mama Bijanati? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nishingarupa Prabhu. Hello, battery, wake up. So beautiful. If you want to just read the first paragraph, that would be great. That would be wonderful.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and his plenary proportions cannot be understood by mental speculation, nor by the non-devotee. If anyone wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has to take the pure devotional service under the guidance of the pure devotees. Otherwise, the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will always be hidden. It is already stated, Naha Prakasha, that he is not revealed to everyone. Everyone cannot understand God simply by erudite scholarship or mental speculation. Only one who is actually engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service can understand what Krishna is. University degrees are not helpful.
Very good. University degrees are not helpful. In fact, I've seen some devotees, they go to the university and they don't come back. So it's kind of scary. If you go to the university and you have strong nishta with your guru and you understand the philosophy and you know up from down in spiritual life that, you know, all the basics, and you have firm faith, that nishta is everything. You know, I know some devotees who did go to college, but under the auspices of a spiritual master. So the guru was constantly checking on them, taking their temperature, their pulse, spiritual pulse, to see where these prabhus are, you know, what's going on with them. And then they come in back into ISKCON, and then they offer some amazing service. Names withheld. But the long story here is that we're trying to make a big show here in the material world. And I'm saying it's me, because I go home and I look for sense gratification right away. So I have to tell myself, wait a minute, I'm being observed by the four directions, by the spiritual master's representative, Krishna, in my heart. Everyone sees me, so am I doing something that my Gurudev would approve of? So it's like that. You just have to think, what would Gurudev do? You know, what was the Christian, what would Jesus do? I say that too. What would Jesus do, Prabhu? Sometimes there's an argument or a conflict. Or, what would Jesus do? So you think, okay, you take the humble position. Okay, so you didn't get your nap, and you're being asked to do 3 things. And so you have to just kind of choose your strongest possibility and then humbly try to find help with the others. That's it. So we just have to keep a humble position. We're very tiny. Anu. Krishna is Vibhu. And just by remembering Krishna, remembering his pastimes, that's where we get our strength. Srila Prabhupada goes on here. And as explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, to understand Krishna means to understand Krishna in his personal form, with his internal energy, his external energy, his expansions, and his incarnations. Who wants to give an example of internal energy? Very perfect. Srimati Radharani is the penultimate representative of the internal energy of Krishna. His external energy, anyone? Durga Devi. Has 8 arms, 8 weapons. Yeah, you're not going to get away from that jail keeper, by the way. She's pretty serious. So she takes her job very seriously. And in fact, internally and externally, she knows where anyone's at. We just simply have to think of Durga as Durga Ma, that she's the servant of Sri Krishna, and she does not even move a muscle without Sri Krishna's approval or direction. So she is that surrendered to Krishna. So we can respect her example. The expansions. Who wants to give a description of Krishna's expansions? Yes.
Avatars are called Mahavishnu, Karanadakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Then there are Leela avatars like pastime avatars, Lord Ram, Parshuram, Vamana avatar, Kurma avatar. Then there is Shaktavish avatar like Parshuram.
Very nice.
And Vyasadev. Then there is Ansha avatar like Kapila Dev.
Yes. Yes. What about Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma? Can you tell me?
Oh yeah, so those are again Sattva, Rajatama, Gunavatar.
Thank you.
So Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva and
Jai. Thank you for... Okay, and then last but not least is his incarnations, which you just rattled off about 10 of them, but the Das Avatar is a really good stotram. In fact, it's my favorite. Jagannath, when it's Jagannath Rath Yatra time, Das Avatar. And Mother, there's a great devotee that used to dance that Das Avatar for Srila Prabhupada. Sadharupa Mataji. Very amazing. Most amazing dancer for Srila Prabhupada. In fact, many devotees and Srila Prabhupada felt that she came to ISKCON to dance. And her Das Avatar dance, I think, is recorded. It's recorded. But if you get a chance, do see it. You will completely be absorbed in Jagannath after you see it. You'll only think of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra Devi all day, all night. It's so beautiful. Okay, no. There are many diverse departments of knowledge in understanding Krishna. Sankhya philosophy is especially meant for persons who are conditioned by this material world. Well, I guess that would be pretty much everybody, right? Except there are exceptions. You do have pure devotees. They come to the movement. Jayananda, so many. The list goes on and on and on. Bhakti Churu Maharaj, so many. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Jamuna Devi. These are people that are completely surrendered, and they're not conditioned. And when they took up their devotional service, it was like a duck going back into the water. You've seen ducks when they fly in the water; they're so happy because that's their element. They love the water. It is generally understood by the parampara system or by disciplic succession to be the science of devotional service. So this is a description of Sankhya philosophy. It's actually a description that it is a science of devotional service. And this is news to me because I'm a little bit shady on Sankhya. There's lots of different areas of philosophy, and there was one book I began to read about 30 years ago, Dialectic Spiritualism. Now this is telling me to go back to it. I need to look this up. But Sankhya Srila Prabhupada boils it down. It is generally understood by the parampara system or by disciplic succession to be the science of devotional service. Preliminary studies of devotional service have already been explained. Now, the analytical study of devotional service will be explained by the Lord, who says that by such an analytical study, one becomes freed from the modes of material nature. When there's a difficulty or a conflict, we used to say, oh, it's just the modes. We never blamed a person. We didn't say, oh, this Prabhu, I caught him watching TV the other day. He's in Maya, No, nothing like that. Oh, it's just the modes. He's in the modes. She's in the modes. That's all. Nobody ever just like categorically passed, what is it, judge, jury, and executioner on anybody, and I'm talking years and years ago, decades ago. We always just assigned it to the modes. And like if someone asked me how I'm doing, I'm in the modes, Prabhu. I am really in the modes. Boy, the mode of ignorance is knocking on my door. Anyway, so you just pray for mercy. You pray for advice and help and guidance. And who says that by such an analytical study, one becomes freed from the modes of material nature? It's amazing, but if someone just comes up and tells you a pastime of the Lord, just like last night, we had a wonderful pastime. It was so much fun. I mean, we all wonder about Srimati Radharani and how she managed to sneak out. How did she manage to do that? She's being watched by two of the most ardent observers. They are so sharp, and they're advanced spiritually. They got eyes in the back of their head. Kotila and Jatila, so powerful, and they watch Srimati Radharani, Jatila especially, and no, she couldn't just get out. And someone brings you in and sees that pastime, and here she is switching clothes with a cowherd boy, her brother, a cowherd boy, and and I've got my calf, Mataji. Good, get out. Don't come back. Anyway, and she's like, yes. She's out here. And she runs to Krishna, And so you hear that, and you're like, oh my goodness. There's another one. The story of the flutes, right? The story of the flutes? I keep looking over at Raseshri's dad, Gokulananda Prabhu. The story of the flutes? Okay. So one day, Srimati Radharani was with Krishna very late one night, and she's like, Krishna, how am I going to get home? I'm really sleepy and tired. And Krishna literally carried her home. And she said, please help me get up the stairs, So he gets up the stairs. She said, well, just tuck me in bed. And so he tucks her in bed. And she said, no, I'm cold. You have to warm me up, And so he warms her up, and then they fall asleep. And so Jatila, Radharani, time to get up. Oh, Krishna, it's my mother. You got to get up. And so Krishna comes, and Krishna looks, and he's smiling. And he said, okay. And then he just vanishes out the window, And so, but she opens the bed covers because Radharani doesn't want to get up because, Krishna was just there, So she pulls back the covers, and his flute is there. And it's not just Vamsi, it's Murali. Murali is very, very elaborate, beautiful. Jewels, elephant on the end, very gorgeous, trunk upraised. And she said, aha, you had this naughty boy in this room. Is that not true? And she said, but it rained. It rained flutes last night. And she said, what? And she said, then the window was open, and the flute just flew in. And she said, what are you saying, girl? You're bad. You're naughty, girl. Very naughty. And she said, no, Mata, see for yourself. And she pulls back the curtains, and there's beautiful, glistening jeweled flutes everywhere. Like hanging on the trees, and she's like looking like, what? And Krishna manifested unlimited flutes, and so in her virtue is the highest anyway. So the point is that the flute was there, and Jatila was satisfied, and Shrimati Radharani got a really good souvenir. Okay, so where were we? So this is also explained here. By understanding the science of devotional service in Sankhya philosophy, one can become free from the modes of material nature. The eternal self, after becoming freed from the spell of material nature, becomes eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. Why do we call Jeev Jago, Gora Chandrabali? Dushyadumna, why do we say that? Here's the spell of material nature. Who does that connotate?
Lord Chaitanya is saying, get out of Maya, wake up.
Why? But where? Why? Where's everybody sitting? Where are they sleeping?
Lap of Maya.
But what is Maya described as? A witch. And she is. She's the best witch. She can be a very good witch, and she can be the meanest witch you've ever known. So, yes, this is the spell of material nature. And that's what we have to pray every morning to become free from. The eternal self, after becoming freed from the spell of material nature, becomes eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. Here we are, the kingdom of God. And actually, it's, thousands of miles radius from wherever the Lord is on the altar. So if you look on the globe, it's like massive lotus flowers everywhere, all over the globe of Krishna's radiuses. So he's gradually turning this whole world into the spiritual world, just from the Sankirtan movement, just from ISKCON Yatra. This is how it's happening. And it's through the surrender that as long as one has even a slight desire to enjoy or lord it over the material nature, there is no chance of his being freed from the influence of nature's material modes. That can be taken a little phonetically, and it can also be the fact. Because in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, verse 16, in Dhyana Yoga, Krishna describes, if you eat too much, eat too little, sleep too much, don't sleep enough. True, to enjoy or lord it over material nature, but they're sleeping for Krishna. What did Srila Prabhupada do? He slept for Krishna. What did Gurudev do? He slept for Krishna. He ate for Krishna. He didn't eat because he was the enjoyer. He slept, not because he was the enjoyer, but he slept so he could do his service. He ate so he could do his service. There's no chance of his being freed from the influence of nature's material modes, so as long as one has even the slight desire to enjoy or lord it over material nature, there's no chance of his being freed from the influence of nature's material modes. How many times have you said, it's time to eat? Have you heard that? It's time to eat, all the time, right? No, it's time to honor prasadam. We honor prasadam. We don't eat. Therefore, one has to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead analytically, as explained in the Sankhya system of philosophy by Lord Kapila Dev. It's so wonderful how Srila Prabhupada just launches this chapter like a massive rocket. This is Lord Kapila Dev's teachings. And anyone who wants to be successful in any endeavor in this material world, you take shelter of Lord Kapila Dev. You take shelter of this third canto because it's so powerful. And it gives you the system to use everything in Krishna's service. So someone comes up to you from TI Texas Instruments and they say, I want to give you $1 million donation. And this happened to me. I want to give you $1 million donation for your Food for Life program. However, you have to become a 501c3. If you don't become a 501c3, I can't do it because I have to be able to write it off. And so I had to say no because at the time, management felt that it would, how was it put? That it would diverse our energies too much, that we needed to focus, and that we would become too splayed out with the energies of it. So I had to respectfully decline with a lot of pain in my heart. And I don't think I passed the test because I gave up my service, which I've regretted ever since it happened. So anyway, that's something that I need to deal with. I was too attached to the idea of creating jobs for the devotees, actually having a place where devotees could work hard and feed the public, feed the needy, and go to colleges, set up professional food distribution, and actually get remunerated and maintained. And they could, maintain their sadhana. But the management then was very wise. Now I can see, looking back, they're very wise because they could see not many devotees were practicing sadhana at the time. A little bit like now. We have a few. In fact, sometimes we get up to 50 listeners in Dallas. I was surprised the other day on a program. It was a special program. It was up to 75 listeners. And it was a Govardhan Hill program. And then one other program on Kirtan 50, we get over 1,000 or more listeners. And many of them are right here practicing their sadhana every day, 16 rounds, 4 regulative principles. They don't offer even a grain or a speck of food. They don't eat it. It doesn't pass their lips unless they've offered it. So we have some really amazing devotees here, but somehow we don't get their association, but we hope more and more will give us 30 minutes here and there. So anyway, it's not just in the temple. I'm going to open the floor. Is that all right? I mean, can we do that? Can I open the floor? Does anybody have any questions, comments, corrections, please? I live to be corrected. Please. Go cool. Come on. Come on. I can see it in your eyes.
You mentioned like Srila Prabhupada and Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. They took rest. They slept not for their sensual enjoyment. So the motive was to be able to serve. So my question is, sometimes we do feel, that enjoyment. Like now the weather is so nice,
Oh, it's perfect sleeping weather.
Yeah, perfect sleeping.
It's like, okay, you want to sleep? Okay, here it is.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Kartik. Kartik's a very big test. Yeah.
So how do we develop that kind of consciousness, not to enjoy the sleep?
Oh. I'm going to let someone else who's got some realizations, and I'll give mine. Anyone else? Come on, you guys. Come on, you get up. You get up. You get up in the morning. Prabhu, you up? Mike?
I don't have anything. I want the answer as well.
Oh, you want the answer? Okay. Drishadum, Okay, come on. Drishadum, you always have a smile. I know you're happy coming here. You took birth just to support this temple, I think. To serve Prabhupada. That's why you're here.
I guess I was just trying to reflect on the question. I don't know that I have the answer either, but just we can discuss it. I think if the if our consciousness and our goal of our life is to be of service to Krishna, I think then the enjoyment, I don't think so much comes from like going to sleep and enjoying the sleep, but maybe the excitement of I'm sleeping now, so I have the energy to serve Krishna better tomorrow. And Srila Prabhupada said many times, right, health first, then your sadhana, then your service, right? So if we don't have enough sleep, how can we practice our sadhana? And if we don't practice our sadhana, then how can we be in the right frame of mind to be able to serve properly? So I was just thinking of it in connection to if our life is, or the goal of our life, and we're trying our best to serve, then that sleep is necessary in order to be able to do that. So
That's good.
Just some thoughts.
Thank you.
I was thinking the easiest days for me to wake up is when there's a service that I'm very inspired to do in the morning. And also, like, I think about like the pujaris on the altar here. It's like, even if they had like 2 hours of sleep, they still, I gotta go address Krishna. I gotta go do my service. So, versus like if I had like, I don't know, like pot washing service at 5 a.m., I might have a little bit of a harder time getting out of bed. But yeah.
Nice. I'm going to quote His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj because I had a problem with that sleep issue also. In fact, I was sleeping sometimes 3 hours, 2 hours, and I would go for a week like that. So it was not very good. And then I told him I didn't want to sleep because I knew that death could come any time, and I want to think about Krishna. I don't want to be asleep when it happens. And I just, was in some sort of like extremist mentality. And he just said that it's actually restorative. You asked for this material body so that you could be separate at the same time. You have been given the facility to maintain the body. And by sleeping the proper amount, it's restorative. And if you don't restore, you say you can't serve. So how are you going to serve? That's what he asked me. And I was like, okay, I got it. So Giriraj Maharaj really understands that science very nicely. He only sleeps as much as he needs, and he only eats as much as he needs. And he's very... Now, there's all different ages. Sometimes you get the younger folk bodies trying to imitate the older bodies. It's a bad idea. They have to, if they can eat 4 chapatis or 6 chapatis, great, eat 6 chapatis. I'm lucky to eat 1. So, but we're all in different stages in our bodies. We're all the same age spiritually. No difference. We're not the body. At the same time, you just have to time, place, and circumstance. As far as myself personally, I feel that I've been given a gift. Mangalarti is a huge gift. And it's like when you get a flawless diamond, you just can't stop looking at it. It's so beautiful. And the rainbows and the colors and the kaleidoscope of it. I mean, these are the greatest jewels that you can imagine. And you just can't stop looking at them. They're so kind. Anything else? Is that good? Okay. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitya Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Coward boy.
Looking at Cal. Charm. And now I can remember you. And then she's on the charm and Robert March. And Caitlin Hoff. You know it. Yes, John.
You guys want
the church kind of like took this turn.
Jaya